Kemba skating through the defense and scores.
Look at Kemba Walker.
Oh yeah, again. Entry pass denied by Kemba. Oh, Kemba.
Gorgeous play from Kemba Walker.
Yes.
New to the roster mix, in addition to Tony Parker, Bismack Biyombo is part of a three-team summer deal, and Miles Bridges, the explosive 12th overall pick out of Michigan State. What are your thoughts on Bridges, how he projects as a pro? We know he can dunk really, really well. I think there are questions about what else he can do and where he fits in the NBA.
Yeah, can that wing position become his natural position? Can he be a perimeter player? I think he showed glimpses with the jump shot, his ability to get it off the bounce. Can he defend that position? I mean, he's going to also, we talked about Malik Monk earlier, but, he's another guy that if he's in the rotation, that's a positive sign. Because remember, in a lot of ways, Malik Monk wasn't in the rotation last year. So if you're going to get a lottery pick, you want him to at least be in the rotation. That gives you a chance. And I think if he shows enough in training camp and finds himself in that position, that's a positive for this organization.
I think just being a lottery pick, you never want to go to an organization where you're the third option off the bench behind Batum, behind Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, who are already proven. So therefore, right now, his antennas are up where he's going to have to work, maybe have to play some time at the four. And the way the league is going, I could see him surviving at the four, playing some stretch four at times. But like you said, you are who you can guard. So if he can show signs of playing defense on the perimeter and down low, he'll find and earn some minutes out there on the floor.
And one thing to mention about him, too, the advantage he has as a young player, when I go in and I see Nicholas Batum and I see Michael Kidd-Gilchrist, yeah, they're really good players. But they ain't not one of them ever got 20 a night in the game. Like, if I can go in and score that position consistently, I'm going to have a chance to get minutes. So he's thinking that way, or should be, as a young player who's, he's been a top-tier guy his entire life. And if he has that confidence, he's going to have a chance.
Well, for the time being, the scoring begins with Kemba Walker. He recently spoke with Roe Parrish about the season ahead.
You have a brand new teammate in Tony Parker, who spent years in San Antonio. How's the interaction been between you so far, and what are you looking forward to learning from him this season?
The interaction has been A1, man. We get along really well. We actually talk a lot. As far as me learning from him, I mean, anything he has to offer. For the most part, I think I want to learn, just how he manages to be really efficient, with his in-between game, finishing at the basket, and his little runners and floaters and things of that nature. So I think I'm going to be picking his brain on that a lot.
Now, you talked about the runners. Of course, those are legendary. He did that when he was in San Antonio, winning championships. James Borrego also comes over, who's the new head coach. What has he established so far as the team's new identity?
I think for the most part, he established a very healthy, talkative culture. He wants us to interact more, communicate more, which is, of course, important in the game of basketball. You have to be, you have to communicate with your teammates, and I think that's something that he really established early, and I'm really excited about that. I think last year that's what we lacked. We didn't communicate enough. So this year, I think a lot of the focus is going to be on our communication and our camaraderie.
So being a winner, you're going to have definite contributions. Now, Miles Bridges, that's your lottery pick. He comes in. He was impressive in Summer League. What have you seen from him so far that impresses you, and do you think he'll be able to contribute as a rookie?
I think so. I'm a big fan. The thing that impresses me the most is his work ethic. Every time I come to the gym, he's here. He's getting his work, especially for a young guy. You know what I mean? And another thing is, when you tell him something, he immediately tries to do it, tries to add it to his game, and I think that's really impressive. You need young guys who wants to learn, who wants to soak things up, who wants to learn from older guys, and he's one of those young guys, and that's what's really impressive about him.
So we see that LeBron has gone west. It appears to everybody that the Eastern Conference is wide open. What is it going to take for the Hornets to get back into that top 8 and make the playoffs?
Yeah, we got to be consistent. We got to be consistent, man. Every night, we have to know who we are. If we're losing, we have to remain the same. If we're winning, we have to remain the same. And I think that's where TP comes in this year for us. His leadership. He's the vet. He's the oldest guy on that team, and he knows what it takes to win in this league. And we're gonna be leaning on that man a lot. So, I'm looking forward to learning from him and see what he has to offer to our team.
So you have a new coach, a new general manager. Is there going to be a new contract on the horizon for Kemba Clutch? Is he going to be staying in the Queen City? What's going on?
I hope so. I think so as well. So I don't know yet, but gonna go through this season. I'm gonna play my butt off just like I do each and every night. And whenever the time comes, we're gonna get it right.
That is the question, isn't it? Coming up, what the Hornets were up to this summer, including trick shots from Jay Triano. Nice.
That's nice.
That's Canada deep. That's what that is. Plus, we'll hear from the starters when we come back. A couple of years ago when he was with Toronto, Bismack Biyombo joked during a playoff series that he wasn't afraid of LeBron. He's afraid of lions. Smart. This summer, he confronted that fear, at least from outside a fence during a visit to his native Africa. Back to the safer confines of our comfy studios and the starters.
Trey and Tass of the starters here for the next point on the Charlotte Hornets. So a little true or false here, Trey. True or false? The Hornets should trade Kemba Walker this season.
I think the easy answer is true. Kemba is 28 years old, heading into his 8th season. The Hornets have only been to the playoffs twice while he's been there. They haven't won a series yet, but I'm going false because it's not that simple. Trading Kemba doesn't instantly start a rebuild. Nick Batum's still on a big contract. Same with Bismack Biyombo. There are a few other players on the roster who are probably not living up to their deals right now, so that's a lot to get done to truly rebuild. So that's why I kind of think maybe the Hornets should just run it back, hope things click, make a run at the playoffs. Nobody expected them to win 48 games in 2015-16, and they were able to do it. The East is probably a little bit weaker this year. This could be, if things break right, a playoff fringe team. If I were the Hornets, that's what I would try and do.
Yeah, I would probably test it out these first few months and see what happens. I just think there's so much leading into Kemba Walker's first free agency that leads me to believe that he's probably going to bounce, and that's why you maybe trade.
Sure.
At this point, he's 28 years old. You said his 8th season with the Charlotte Hornets. He's going to be their 6th highest paid player going into this year. And no fault to him for signing 4 for 48 back then, but so many guys ahead of him. I don't know how much he can get next year in free agency with the Charlotte Hornets. He can probably get some more elsewhere, like the New York Knicks, for example. I know that's been the rumor forever because he kills it at MSG, but to me that makes a heck of a lot of sense. And again, not a lot of success. It just feels right. Going into me agency, it just feels like he's going to take care of himself next year. And that's why you probably suss it out a little bit around February. Maybe we can get a good package because they're going to have to blow this up at some point. Because I mentioned there's 5 guys ahead of him on that payroll, and they're not doing all that well.
That's right. There haven't been a team that has totally lived up to expectations after that surprising 15-16 season. Getting back to the playoffs seems to be the peak for this team. So maybe you're right. Maybe come February time will be the Kemba Walker sweepstakes. We shall see.
All right, that's it for us. More on the Hornets coming up. And to get more of the starters, check us out weeknights on NBA TV at 6 Eastern.
All right, guys, thank you very much. The Hornets are in a really tough spot with regard to Kemba. Their cap situation is not very good. There are a bunch of big contracts already on the books. Even if they move him at the trade deadline, say pick up a first-round pick and an expiring contract, that doesn't really accelerate the rebuild, right? Because they've still got all this money on the books.
Yeah, it's going to be a challenge. And, trading him, remember, he only makes $12 million this year. So if you're Charlotte, you'd probably like to be able to package some of the bad contracts that you have with him and try to get young talent back that way. And there are teams out there that are looking for point guard help, Phoenix being one potentially. So the possibility will exist. Mitch Kupchak is an experienced, savvy front office type. And I do think they have to try and explore that because, look, if you gave Batum that contract, that's the starting point, I would assume, with Kemba in terms of a long-term
Pretty
deal.
hard to argue that you could offer him less.
Yeah, in a small market team like that, I'm not sure they're in a position where they're going to want to be floating with or flirting with the luxury tax. So perplexing to say the least in terms of what's going on in Charlotte right now.
It's simple as this. They have a lot of money and they're not getting out production for what they're paying for. So Kemba's up for a big deal. Like I said, if they saw him in their future plans, they would have extended him or at least offered him an extension to turn down. Has that happened? We don't know. But from the looks of it, they're trying to see this season of where we are right now. We're a top 5 team as far as salary cap. Where are we at? Can we win with this group? And if you start seeing about December, January, about 25 games in, you're going to have your identity.
Right.
You know, everything's kind of is going to sit down. Who's doing what? Who's really work? It might be a different conversation right now about Batum come December. He might be averaging 20, but we don't know that yet, and nor does Mitch Kupchak, the coaching staff, or the players. So I think going forward, you see what they do to about December, and then if it's not looking good, if you're in that 8th, 9th seed and you think you have potential to make a playoff run and stay in that contingency, I think it's you pull the trigger.
And keep in mind, Kemba still has the leverage because if he doesn't want to sign with a team you want to trade him to, it's very unlikely that that team's going to trade for him. He's unrestricted. So it's not as easy as say, okay, well, this didn't work, we're going to move him. No, he's going to have to sign off on where you trade him if you want to receive assets back. So it's going to be a challenge for a new coaching staff, new system, new front office this upcoming season.
It is a puzzle to be solved in Charlotte. Kemba or no Kemba, what will the standings say about the Hornets at the end of the season? Drew and GA have their best guesses when we return. It's a season full of ceremony in Charlotte, starting with opening night, October 17th. Muggsy Bogues, Glenn Rice, Larry Johnson, all honored. Tony Parker back in San Antonio on January 14th. All right, more or fewer than 35.5 wins for the Charlotte Hornets this season?
I'm going to say more.
More.
I'm going to say 30. Yeah, more.
All right, Drew?
I'm going to say more. I'm
Both
going to say
saying
more.
more.
East is wide open. East is wide open.
Are you saying like playoff more?
They have no, I'm not saying playoff. I'm just
35 and a
saying.
half
That's
ain't
the next
playoff.
question.
Yeah.
Well, but 50 could be more than 35.5.
Come on,
The
Hornets.
East is wide open. You might get to the playoffs with 35.
We'll find out soon enough. Thanks for being there, everybody. We'll see you.